Welcome to Plant Empowered Fitness, a podcast for amazing, ambitious women like you who are ready to get in the best shape of their lives. Your host, nutrition and fitness coach, Tamara Marie, will show you how to transform your body with optimal plant-based nutrition and pain-free muscle toning techniques so you can burn body fat, shrink your waistline, and boost your energy without suffering through hours of intense cardio. In every episode, you'll get simple, actionable advice so you can thrive at 35, be fierce over 40, and fabulous at 50 and beyond. Here is your host, Tamara Marie.
Welcome to the Plant Empowered Fitness Podcast. We are officially kicking off season 4 with a conversation with 3 amazing plant-based athletes. These are women who decided after age 40 that they were going to step on the bodybuilding stage for the first time. And we are covering different categories. So if you've been thinking about bodybuilding, you don't know a lot about it, this will be interesting insight into what it takes to really get to stage, especially if you're over 40. I know for me, the first time I even heard about or considered female bodybuilding, my first thought was, oh, that's going to be really a masculine thing. I don't want to do that. My second thought was, maybe it's a little bit too late for me. But when I actually went to a show and I saw the beautiful suits that people are wearing for competition, the posing and everything on stage, it was just a really beautiful experience. And I actually had a friend who said to me, it's a shame that you didn't start earlier because you missed your calling. You could have been a bodybuilder. And I was like, well, look, I'm not dead yet. Just because I'm 40 doesn't mean that I can't step on stage. So I hope that whether you're thinking about just getting in shape or maybe even getting to the stage one day, that this conversation will inform and inspire you. So I'm talking to Jovina, who's a figure competitor like me, Donnie, who represents our bikini category, and then Miaya, who is my client who recently competed in wellness and did her debut. And we'll talk about their journey to stage, why they wanted to compete, and how they were actually able to deal with the process. Because, we see a lot of things when we're looking at the shows on YouTube or we look at Instagram accounts, and we don't always know exactly what it takes to get to stage. So we're going to talk all about that. Now, this is going to be a 2-part conversation because we cover a lot of topics. So I hope you enjoy this part 1 of my conversation with Jovina, Donnie, and Miaya. Welcome, ladies, to the Plant Empowered Fitness Podcast. Thank you for joining me. I'm really excited for our conversation about competing as a plant-based athlete. And all of you represent different parts of the sport, but the thing that we all have in common is that we're all plant-based. I believe all women 40 in the 40 and over crew as well, and at different levels of competing. So I just want to start out by having everyone introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Donnie, if you could just introduce yourself to our audience once again.
I'm Donnie. I am a 58-year-old bikini competitor. I started my journey 3 years ago at 55. I have been a vegan for almost 10 years, vegetarian for 30 years prior to that. I've been really excited about the process of committing to something that what you put in is what you get out. So I fell in love with competing after that first season. All of the benefits from strength training have been just 100% amazing, and part of my goal at this stage in life is to spread the word with no matter what you do, whether you're competing or not. I love to get women excited about strength training.
Awesome. Yeah. And 58 and looking 38, but that's okay. I want to be like her when I grow up. All right. What about you? Let's go to Miaya to introduce yourself.
Sure. I am Miaya. I'm from Southern Maryland. I am 43. I have been plant-based for 8 years. And prior to that, I used to weigh, 310 pounds. So coming in, I lost 100 on my own. And it was a journey off and on. And then I started gaining some. And when I came to the program, I was a whopping, I believe, like 215. And I needed that help. And I wanted someone who looked like me and could understand my needs and my struggles, being plant-based, being a woman over 40. And I started, and then there was one of those, so I said, I want to bodybuild. I want to get on stage. And she kind of looked at me, was just like, okay, you sure? I was like, yeah, I think so. And sure enough, I started the nutrition program. I ended up losing my mom within 3 months of that program, and that was tough. But she stayed with me. My just phenomenal coach stayed with me the entire process, and I just asked, just don't quit on me, and she didn't. And I said, you know what? Come January, I said, let's do it, and I did. First time was scary, but I loved it. And then I think it was 2 weeks later, she's like, there's another one. I was like, my brother missed it, let's do it. And I did it. First time I placed second, my second show, out of, I think was it 12 women? I placed in the top 5. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was good. So.
And yes, I can definitely attest to Miaya is a heat-seeking missile. When you give her a target, it's like, doesn't matter what happens, right? You were definitely determined. So of course I was going to stick with you because you stuck with it, right? So yes, and definitely phenomenal debut. So glad to be able to be a part of that and see you kind of go through that process. So. And Jovina, last but definitely not least, but I think you're our most recent competitor. You just had a show.
I am a 46-year-old figure bodybuilder. I just competed in my first show on October 11th, where I won first place in women's novice and second place in women's open. And it was just a really great experience. I was able to step on stage, and the idea was just me versus me being me, working toward a goal and showing up for myself, not knowing who I was going up against, but just being able to show up for myself. And in that sense, I had already won, but just having a great community of women behind me, two great coaches. I actually had a conditioning coach and a nutrition coach, and Coach Tamara was my nutrition coach. And both of those ladies worked really well together to help me through that experience. I called them the dream team. So like whenever we had conversations, I felt like the both of them had my best, the best for me. They thought about it. They worked together to do whatever I needed them to do. And so truly appreciated the experience. And with that good experience, it makes me want to do more. So I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Yes. And thank you for that. And I can attest to as well. Definitely you rocked the stage for your first show. I know everyone's nervous, right? The first time. But your show is actually live streamed. So I was actually watching it, like rooting you on. I was like, oh my gosh, she's just had the stage presence, the poise, and some of those things like you can't really teach, right? It's just like having that presence. That's something that comes from you. You will learn how to improve your posing and all of that as you go. But everyone, I even told you earlier, we were talking before we started recording, you're like, oh, my posing wasn't great. And I look at my pictures from my first show and I was like, oh my gosh, what was I doing? Like, I didn't know how to pose at all. So you always will improve something. And I think, as you continue in the sport season after season, you set a different goal for yourself. So I love that you even said like, this is for you, right? What you're competing against yourself in a way. It's like, well, what can I bring to stage? And like, you already won. So having that mindset will do you well in the sport because, judges have different feedback. Your coach might say something different. Other people in your life might have other things to say. But if you know what your goal is, you can kind of check those boxes for you. The rest of the stuff is just noise. So definitely commending you as a first-time competitor. And I will say, when I started bodybuilding, it was really apparent to me that there's not a lot of information about how to do this plant-based, right? Mm-hmm. And there are now some people are doing like more vegan bodybuilding, but then even a lot of those are, there's a lot of males in the sport of bodybuilding. There's a lot of younger people in the sport of bodybuilding. So when it comes to being a woman 40 and over who's plant-based, it becomes like, okay, I need a coach that really understands women's bodies, that understands expectations. And also all of us compete in natural federations as well. I know Maya, you've also done NPC. I've done some NPC shows as well. But by and large, when you're competing as a natural athlete, there are just other considerations that you have because you don't have that extra sort of help with they call them supplements. It's funny they call it supplements, and sort of like the enhanced bodybuilding world. You don't have that, right? The most we have is creatine, so we're not out there like
Right.
bulking up. So and then recovering as quickly. So all those things definitely come into play. So thank you all for making the time because I know you all are super busy professional women as well, not just bodybuilders. I wanted to just ask to kind of start the conversation because you all came from different places. Maya, you had a weight loss journey. Donnie, you were looking at the sport. Jovina, I know for you, you were, becoming plant-based and figuring out how to do this as a plant-based athlete, and we're already kind of training with your coach. What is it that made you pull the trigger and say, I want to step on that stage, right? Because it's one thing to kind of look at Instagram and be like, oh, that looks cute, right? Which I might want to do that one day. To actually deciding that you wanted to start bodybuilding, what was it that gave you that spark? And did the decision to go plant-based or be vegan coincide with that? Or was it something you just had to adapt to as a part of being a bodybuilder? And I guess we can start with you, Donnie.
I would say, well, you said a lot in there, Tamara. But I would say competing as a vegan. Like I said, I was a vegan before I started my strength training journey, and then I had my mother at 50 did her first competition, so it was always in the back of my mind, like, oh, that may be a good goal to set for myself. But I was a cardio girl, so once I started the strength training, um, I wanted to set a goal and setting like my mom did it. Let me put that in place, and it just gave me something to work towards. And I feel like for a lot of us, like when you say knowing your why and figuring out, like once I had a purpose, like, hey, I want to do this, found a coach and started the process. Oh, sorry, I heard some music. Started the process of just training for it. Like I said, fell in love with it. But in terms of being a vegan, I did find a difference between my first show or my first season and my second season. The first season, I struggled a little bit. I was able to meet my goals, but a lot of the protein sources I used were more, um, like store bought products,
Mhm.
fake meat. And my second season, I pulled away from that. I still did that in addition to like protein powder, but I also did more of my like seitan became my thing, making my own seitan. That way I knew exactly what was going into my body because the fake meats, although they have the nutritional packet, like, you don't really know how much fats in it are real because they have a margin in which they can play with in terms of what the numbers say on the packet and what it actually is. So I found the journey as a vegan, um, bodybuilding and finding community. Like Tamara was one of those people that we instantly connected. She's given me some insights on products to use. So yeah, I would say all in all, my vegan experience. I was a vegan before starting the journey. Um, and the people are always amazed, like, there's no way you're vegan and you can actually like look like this, and it's like,
Mhm.
no, yeah, we can do it too. I always hear you don't have no complete protein, blah blah blah, it can't be done. So every time we all get
Mhm.
on the stage and we rock it, we are also kind of like putting out there, which I love that that's not our intent, but I love that when I stand on the stage and although they don't announce that you're vegan, whether it's our platforms, when I tell people I'm vegan, 100% vegan, I love the facial expressions, like, wow, really? Yes, we can do this.
No, absolutely. And I think,
Yeah.
what you said too resonates with the reason I really started bodybuilding. besides the fact that I had some potential for the sport, I really did want to change the conversation from people, becoming overnight nutritionists. Like when they found out you're vegan, like you said, they're talking about complete proteins. They don't even know what a complete protein is. It's just something someone told them. They don't know what amino acids are. They don't know what they do, but they just assume, oh, because this is the norm, everyone eats meat, right? So how could you possibly do this? But like you said, when we step on the stage, to me, it shifts the conversation from how can you or no, you can't, to wait, how did you do that? And that to me has been the biggest shift, because then they realize they have a deficit in understanding, and it's not that we have a deficit in nutrition or muscle or protein or any of those things. So I love that it shifts the conversation, and also that you were a vegan before, because some people say, oh, you guys were all eating meat and you built all your muscle and then you became vegan. No, absolutely not. So, I think that's really powerful that, and you were vegan long before, a vegetarian vegan long before you started training. So clearly it wasn't, I built my muscle with meat and now, now I'm trying to be healthy. So
Right.
absolutely. Jovina, what about you? What was your reason for wanting to pull the trigger and get on stage?
So I've actually always wanted to do one. I've had this thing about milestones, and so when I turned 40, I did a marathon. I did my first and my last marathon on the same day. I was done. But I've always been trying to improve and grow and evolve in myself and my body. And I knew that I wanted to do one day because I did work out. But my thought was I was going to do it when I turned 50. That was going to be my thing, right? When I turned 50, I was going to prep, be ready for it, and get it done at the age of 50. But my youngest daughter graduated from high school 2 years ago. She's in college. I don't have any kids right now. I'm technically not an empty nester because she's still here, but I don't have to worry. I didn't have to worry. I don't have to worry, so I could, at this point, I was just taking care of myself. And as a wife, a mother, a friend, sister friend, all those things, I had the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it done. I'm going to do it. Who knows what's going to happen in between 46 and 50? Life is too short. I'm going to do what I need to do. I'm going to get it out the way. But lo and behold, I actually loved it. I've only been plant-based for 2 years. So I actually made a decision before I turned I made a decision after I turned plant-based. So I was already plant-based. Initially, I went plant-based because although I thought I was a fitness enthusiast, I thought I was eating good, doing all those things. I had high cholesterol. Every time I would go back and get a biometric screening, they would tell me that my cholesterol was really high. I was on the verge of taking medications. And I'm like, I can't. Like, I'm doing all of these things to try to be proactive in my health. And every time I turn around, something is going on with my blood work. So that made me go whole food plant-based. And I stuck to whole food plant-based until I met Coach Tamara, and she introduced me to, seitan. And at first I was all against. I wasn't against. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to be eating this. And she had to explain to me. She had to educate me, which I really appreciated about her coaching. Is that when I had a question about something, she was there to tell me, like, look, this is really what it is. And now I have a different understanding of what lean plant protein is. Like, I'm not against eating minimum processed meats to meet my goals, and, this is how I meet my protein now. So when people ask that question, I'm like, well, no, this is how I'm doing it. And it's, I'm not just eating beans and legumes. I'm not doing just that, but I'm also, tracking what I eat. I'm doing all of these things to make sure that I get the quality protein that I'm supposed to get. And so, again, this journey has been nothing but amazing for me, and it just makes me want to continue to keep going.
That's awesome. And I'm also impressed that you ran a marathon, because when I hear that, my standing joke for running, and I used to be a sprinter. Okay. I did run track for a beat, and I was a sprinter because I think running should end quickly. It's supposed to be a fast activity. And I say, like, if you see me running, please shoot whatever's chasing me, because if I'm running from something. So kudos to you for making that shift too, because I think even in the fitness world, right, there's like the runners, and like Donnie, you said, used to be like more of a cardio bunny, and then you've got like the weightlifters, and I feel like there's these two camps, and people often think you can't do both, and like we're kind of like so diametrically different. But you do have to kind of still have some conditioning, right? It's some cardiovascular fitness to be a bodybuilder. You can't just be in the gym all day and just eating like protein and sitting and watching TV the rest of the day, right? You do have to move your body. And also that cardiovascular strength helps you lift weights and train harder. So I do think it's funny. And I do know some bodybuilders that are also runners, despite their coaches kind of like feedback to the contrary. But it's definitely two different approaches. And I also appreciated you being open to, incorporating different protein sources. So like Don, you also mentioned like you said fake meats. Some people say mock meats, and there's all of these products like the brands like Impossible, Beyond are probably the two most popular ones that people think about. And they always go, well, why are you guys doing that? Just eat a quote unquote real burger. And a lot of these products are trying to mimic sort of like more American traditional protein sources, like a beef patty or a chicken something. And but the truth of the matter is a lot of these proteins have been consumed in Asia, other countries for decades, centuries, like seitan, for example. People go, that's kind of a weird name. It sounds like Satan. Well, it's because it's a translation from an Asian language, and it's something that they've been eating for thousands of years. The problem is when with an American mindset, we look at it and go, oh, you guys are trying to make fake meat. It's like, no, I can put barbecue sauce on anything. And just because you think it looks like beef, it's never been beef. So, it's the mindset thing. So I think that in a lot of too, with like the whole food plant-based crowd, there's this very, almost like religious view about processed food. And I always tell people, like, if you ever seen broccoli in the wild, you would not eat it. All food has some level of processing. And that's why we say minimally processed, like you said, Jovina, like, the food that we eat, we're not foraging, no one is out there scavenging. No one's killing, even people that eat meat, they're not catching and killing their food. So we live in a modern world. So, but the idea is to have the education of like, what are healthy protein sources for me? And then what are those things that I can incorporate into my diet, knowing that I know what's going into it. And like Donetta mentioned, making a lot of your own food takes away a lot of that, they have that 20% higher or lower, like you can say 10 grams of fat, but it might be, 20% more than that. And they can do that legally. So all that stuff comes into play. And I think for me, part of bodybuilding, I actually became very educated about food myself because you had to really track what you were eating, right? What are macronutrients and all of that? So I think it also is like a really good learning process for anybody that's, even if you don't want to get on stage, right? If you're just thinking about how do I better myself, the more you learn about nutrition, it can only help you, kind of reach your goals. So thank you for that, Jovina. And Maya, I know a little bit about your reason, but I want you to share, why did you decide that you wanted to get on stage?
So I decided to get on stage. I had talked about it for years. I wanted to, but like I said, I actually lost my mom October 23rd, 2024, unexpectedly. And it was one of those, we had talked about it before she passed. She kept saying, oh, you want to do bodybuilding? Just whatever you do, just don't look like a man. I just don't want you to look like a man. And I'm like, I'm not. I'm not. I'm too cute. It won't happen. But it's just something just clicked, and it was just like, you know what? My mom is gone. I gotta live. I need to live. And one of the things that she used to pound on me over and over, I need you to pour into yourself. I do such a good job taking care of the kids and of her. And I worked so much. It was, I want you to do something for yourself. And this is something that I wanted to do. So I did. And I'm just going to say it was hard as hell. Like, it was not easy. For me, I'm between my aunt and I, we're the only two plant-based family members. So everybody has something to say in my family. When I showed up at the cookout, well, my little lunch bag, everybody has something to say. Oh, you eating that little rabbit food and that ain't real meat. You know, you need a burger. You need a meal. You're not even eating. Look at you, just rice cakes. That's all you're doing. And it was a struggle for me. But it was one of those, I wanted this. And when you want something, you got to be willing to be, like Jovina said, you got to be that 1%. I'm willing to take that. That's fine. Under your care, coach, I learned that it wasn't just because I was one of those impossible beyond. I didn't know because that's what was in front of me. But I learned about seitan. I learned about TVP, and it was just like, oh, okay. There's other things I can do. And the biggest misconception with plant-based is just like, what is that? What are you eating? Versus when I would make my meals, my family was just like, oh, well, that looks good. Oh, that smells good. That tastes good. Yes, being plant-based, it does. It is very nutritious, and it's also lovely in your palate. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't come for me. I don't just eat veggies and fruit. It's so many other different things. And the benefits of it for me, too, I did find out that I also have lupus. So triggers for my lupus would be stress and severe inflammation, because I also have arthritis. But having that wealth of knowledge, knowing that, okay, I can still meet my protein goals with my TVP. I can still meet my protein goals with my seitan. And I have that, I was joking with the kids. They were having steak one night. I said, yeah, I'm gonna have my own steak too. It's just seitan steak. Okay. That's what I'm doing. All right. And it does. This journey has just been nothing but amazing. And I'm excited to do it again. Like you said, once you get started, you're going to get that bug. Yeah, I got the bug. So, yeah, I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things you said about just people making comments, I remember when I first became a vegetarian. So this was while I'm dating myself. So I was a teenager when I first stopped eating meat. And I remember my grandmother saying to me, girl, you're going to disappear. You got to eat something. You can't, because I was the one, I would have the whole plate of mac and cheese. Like that was me. Like I was like, I always kind of joke I was a starchitarian before I was a vegetarian, because I love like pizza, fries, all that. So I was a very unhealthy vegetarian for a little bit because I was also broke. But anyway, I remember her saying that initially. And then I went away to college. And I remember I came back my first semester from my break, and I was at my grandmother's house. So she looked at me and said, girl, you look good. People pay money to have a body like that. And I was like, see, I didn't disappear. So I do think I think it's a cultural thing, right? Our food, it's not just, fuel. I know a lot of athletes are like, food is fuel, right? And we get into this mindset of counting macros and, nutrition. But when we were young and growing up, like food is just a part of our life. It's like something you share with family. You have your favorite dishes your mom makes. If your mom could cook, not throwing any shade, but everyone's mom can't cook. So, but like that experience of community, right? And eating, and it can feel not even just like as being plant-based, but also as a bodybuilder, because we have like, when we're in prep, like getting ready for a show, there is no room for like, oh, I'm just going to go out and have some wine tonight and just like eat whatever is at this restaurant because they said it's vegan, right? You've got to be on point. So it can feel isolating without community, and also without the knowledge of how do I make food taste good, right? Because I always tell people, like, just because you're vegan doesn't mean you have to eat kale and tofu every day, right? I mean, kale is good or whatever, right? Tofu's fine, but like, I'm a foodie before I'm a bodybuilder. I love food. I love experimenting with different flavors. I like trying different things. And so to me, it's always important that food tastes good, right? And I think we have this idea with like health, we have to deprive ourselves of things we love, whether it be flavor or just a particular food that we used to have. I can't have that at all. And then that kind of restricts us, and we end up sort of, rebounding or rebelling against our goals. So I love that you know, had that experience and your family was able to see you like, oh, wait, what is that? What are you making? It smells good, right? Because it's about the flavor and the texture. And if you get that down, it's a healthier way to do it. And I think people kind of get on board when they see us as that example. So I did want to ask a question since we were talking about food real quick. Just real quick, like what during bodybuilding prep and in general, what is your favorite sort of like go-to protein source? Like your favorite dish that you make? I'll start with mine. Okay, so last season, I came up with this. It's going to sound nasty, but it's I make like fries out of tofu, which sounds like ridiculous. But there is a brand, I know you guys know because I've talked about it before, Big Mountain, right? It's a fava bean based tofu. It has almost no fat. So most tofu is soy based and it has a lot of fat with the protein. This one is like a Canadian based product for whatever reason, has like almost no fat. And so like I would chop that up, put some nutritional yeast flakes, maybe spray a little olive oil on it, put it in the air fryer. And those are my fava fries. That's what I call them. And that whole, like if you eat the whole thing, it's like 64 grams of protein. And I was like, this is my jam because it's simple, not the most like tasty. It's good. Like sometimes I put Old Bay on it. That's my Maryland thing. I put like that and then I have it with ketchup. But to me, it was just fast and easy. And I could get in a lot of protein without adding like fat and carbs and stuff. So that was one of mine. But Donnie, what about you? What was your like go-to protein during prep?
As soon as you said it, I was shaking my head. Like that was actually the Big Mountain that I do I think they have a spicy version, which is 56 grams of protein, and then the regular one is 64. And I would just like chop that up. I wouldn't call it fries, but I would put it in blocks sometimes. I would put it in the air fryer, put a little bit of like, sometimes a little barbecue sauce, like sugar-free barbecue sauce on it. And that would be it. I put it in a container. I packed it, that was like I took it to work. I love the 64 grams of protein. And like you said, like I would go into not a lot of stores around me would sell it. So I would go to Fresh Market. And I just remember like my biggest budget I item during prep was the Big Mountain because I think it's about 6 or 7, I guess it may be regional, but about $7 a block. And I would just stock up and I would go and I would like clear out the section, basically take like 15 things. And then people would look at me and I'm like, hey, I'm in prep. It makes it so much easier. So that honestly has been my first season. I didn't discover that. So I was doing regular tofu. I would do tofu scramble was like my thing. I had it probably every day during prep. And people were saying, don't you get sick of it? I was like, it's easy, not as easy as, like you say, the fava bean tofu, but tofu was my thing before, finding that one.
Yeah, and I forgot I use that too. I made an Alfredo sauce with the Big Mountain tofu. I blend that with like almond milk, nutritional yeast flakes. Sometimes I put a few cashews in it, depending on how much fat I was trying to get, and some like little bit of garlic. Oh man, talk about Alfredo sauce with like all protein.
Oh my
So
gosh,
put it
yes.
in the blender. Try that next
I'm
time.
gonna try
Okay.
that. I'm gonna try that. Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm gonna need you to write that down for me, please,
I
so I
know,
can
like I
Yeah,
gotta
that
put that. I
sounds
have to post
good.
that recipe because I was just about to do it this past week too because I do the same thing. I'm laughing because I stock up on it too. I was like, ooh, and then it's on sale. Like it's on sale for like $5 or something. I saw it and I was like,
Yes.
clearing out the section. I was
Mhm.
in Sprouts,
Yep.
like this is all me.
I was in Sprouts. Yeah, the same as Sprouts when it's on
Yep.
sale. I just yep.
Maya, what about you?
I was just gonna say the same thing. So Mom's has it on sale for $3.99.
What?
When I
What?
say I'll grab 6 and just take it home, I will actually cube mine up and I make it with this is weird. It's that like it's like a steak seasoning,
Mhm.
and I'll put turmeric in it,
Oh, okay.
and I'll have it with broccoli. Oh my gosh, I don't need no sauce. I don't need no sauce because I'm already salivating. That's the sauce enough. It's just it was my go-to, very quick. very easy, and I got most of my protein from there.
Yep.
But yeah, that was my big go-to until I will say, when you introduced me to Darren chicken,
Mm-hmm.
mm, oh my,
That's another easy one.
that was a game changer. I really thought that I was like cheating like on myself. I felt like I was having like KFC or something. I was like, this tastes so real. What is this? But it was yeah. Those two they were my go-tos.
So I'm gonna have to post the links for all of these in our show notes. And I think that we need to ask Big Mountain for a brand sponsorship at this point because we all been using it. I hope you enjoyed part one of our conversation and you got some insight. Take a moment to think about how you can apply some of the things you've learned, even if, again, you don't want to get on stage, if you just want to get in shape, if you just want to go into this holiday season and new year, not sabotaging any success or progress that you've made in this year, or if this year has been super stressful for you and you really haven't been able to dedicate that time to yourself. Maybe now's the time for a reset. If you are looking for some assistance with how to follow plant-based nutrition in a way that helps you get toned, build muscle, deal with all the wonderful hormonal changes that we go through over 40, you can definitely go to plantempoweredfitness.com. On the website, they have some tips there that might be helpful for you. And if you're looking for a coach or you just want to have a conversation to see if coaching might be right for you or just to sort out what your goals should be, you can go to plantempoweredfitness.com/apply. And there you can apply for coaching. Again, there's really no commitment to having an initial conversation. We'll have a consultation. We'll talk about what you're struggling with, what your goals are, and what type of help or program you should follow to get there. So plantempoweredfitness.com/apply if you are looking for some help with your fitness journey. Now, make sure you tune in next week. We will be continuing our conversation with Donnie, Miaya, and Jovina. We'll be talking a little bit more about what's next for them, as well as getting more into some of those recipes. I know we were talking about that. We're right in the middle of sharing some of our favorite protein sources. And I will provide links to all that in our show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, in the description, we'll include those links as well. Again, make sure you're subscribed. If you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you're following us. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to this on any other podcast feed like Apple Podcasts, for example, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast so that you'll be notified when our next episode drops. So thank you so much for listening. This is a great way to kick off our fourth season. And I hope that, again, if you need some help with your fitness journey, that you reach out. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful, healing, happy, and healthy rest of your day. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Plant Empowered Fitness Podcast. Connect with us on Instagram at Plant Empowered Fitness. To find out how we can help you meet your personal health and fitness goals, go to plantempoweredfitness.com. That's plantempoweredfitness.com.